Hey guys, welcome to Kludgy Tech Time. I'm David, and today is a great day to be a drone enthusiast. Today we have the official date for the Autel Robotics Evo. We've been waiting since January when it was announced at CES, and today's the day. They're telling us June 25th is the official release date. So it's been a long time coming. I know a lot of people were upset about that, but it's officially here and it's ready to go. Now, last week, the Parrot Anafi, whatever you want to call it, was released. Has some pretty cool specs, some interesting things about it. It's a little give and take with the Parrot Anafi. We asked you guys in that video right up here, does it tick off enough of the boxes that you want to be able to buy a drone? So the question today is, does the Evo tick off enough of your boxes for what you're looking for in a camera drone? So let's talk through some of those. So we have a 4K 60 frame per second video, 12 megapixel camera. We have full vision sensors for forward obstacle avoidance as well as down, and it's creating a computer model of the environment around it and helping to judge if it can go over or around when it's in tracking mode. When it's just in regular GPS mode, it is not doing the judging if it can go up or around. It will just stop in front of an object. It also has infrared sensors in the rear of it that will help with obstacle avoidance when you're doing those rearward movements as well. Now, it's not a super tiny drone. It's not small like the Mavic Air or the Spark or the Anafi. It's a little bit bigger. It's about the size of the Mavic Pro. Now, one of the big things is they say 30 minutes, very similar to the Mavic Pro, and 4.3 mile distance. So those are kind of the main specs. It'll do waypoints when you're using the brand new Explorer app. It'll do active tracking and several other things that only you can do when you're using the Explorer app on your phone, but you can fly the drone without the Explorer app, just using the remote that has a 3.3-inch OLED display on it. That when you're using it in conjunction with your phone, it will also display a bunch of the telemetry data and information, a lot like the Mavic Pro does, but it does even more, especially when you don't have the Explorer app. It'll get a live feed directly to it so you can see exactly what you have. Now, that 3.3-inch OLED screen has 330 nits of brightness, which isn't super crazy bright, but it's enough to be able to see it in the sunshine. As you can see when I did an interview with Jacob from Autel a while back. You can check out this the interview series right up here. Now, when it is streaming back and you're using the Explorer app, it is using 1080p. So again, it's very similar to the Mavic Pro in the technology that it's using for that signal. It's not Wi-Fi. It gets that 4.3 mile distance, and it gets a 1080p stream on the way back. So a lot of those sound a lot like the little tick boxes if you were saying this is what OcuSync is. It sounds very similar to that technology. I don't know exactly how similar it is, but very similar in its behavior anyways, in terms of the features that you can do with it. Now, the one big difference with the Evo from the Mavic Pro is that it is using 900 megahertz and 2.4 gigahertz for its signal, not 2.4 and 5.8. Now, having that 900 megahertz will allow it to penetrate a bit better through trees and other small objects. The 2.4 and especially 5.8 gigahertz has a bit of problems being able to get through. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out, how the signal strength works out, and what people really see in the real world. So there's some people starting to get theirs. There's some reviewers online that have done them. A couple of winners from a contest from CES that have also got theirs and are starting to publish some stuff. So keep an eye out for those. I'm still holding out, Autel. If you guys are watching this, I would love to. All right, so those are some of the major points of the new Evo. If you want a lot of detail, I have a whole series. Check those out with the interview with Jacob. He gave us lots of detail, really in-depth, lots of detail, so go check those out. Now, let's talk a little bit about the video that was released and some of the comments that I've seen from Autel come out since. So, one of the things that I talked about in part 2 of my series was that the Evo is only going to be sold in the US to start off with, not in Europe, not in other areas. At the time, at least, they didn't have CE certification. They were working on it, and they're also working on sales channels and how to sell and support outside of the United States. That's not done yet, and you can see a couple of comments from Autel on that from today. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. I know a lot of you guys outside of the United States were really looking forward to the Evo. Looks like you may have to wait, or maybe a bit more difficult for you to buy it. So we'll see how that really works out in the real world. One of the things to watch out for that I noticed, and I saw a few comments about it, was while watching the YouTube video that they released, they had some snow scenes in there, and snow is really hard to be able to capture all the detail because it just gets blown out so easily because it's so bright, so much light coming off of there. So it'll be interesting to see what a real world video of regular users, how the contrast and the dynamic range ends up being. I think it's going to be really good, but that video kind of made me question a little bit about that. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, one of the other things I noticed was they showed a screenshot of the Explorer app, and there was an icon missing that is shown on their website. Of the Explorer app. Now, the Explorer app on their website looks like this and has an extra icon down there in the bottom right-hand corner, which is VR. Now, if you see the one in the video, it does not have that icon. On the website, it says VR goggles sold separately, but I haven't seen or heard anything about those VR goggles. So it'll be interesting to see, is that a feature that they've taken away, or is that something, VR goggles that they're going to come out with in the future, or does that work with existing goggles that are out there? That's not something I've really looked into. Maybe the answer's already there and I just didn't see it, but that's one of the things that I know people have asked me on questions in my previous video, so thought I would mention it. If you've got answers about the VR, I would love to see them. Leave some comments below. Maybe you guys know more about that, so let me know what you think. One last feature of the Explorer app that I'd like to point out is that in their video, they talk about that it shows you weather and flight zone restrictions. Now, they show in the video weather, how it shows you the weather on the screen in the Explorer app, but they don't show you what they're talking about in terms of flight zone restrictions. Autel has told me, and they've told other people, that there is no geofencing, so I'm interested to see what the flight zone restrictions are that they mention in the video. If I get an answer from Autel about that, I will follow up, leave a comment down below with more details on that. All right, guys, so the question of the day is, does the Evo tick off enough of your boxes to want to buy it? They've got great customer support. It ticks off most of the boxes most people are going to want, but does it tick off enough for you to want to buy it? Leave me a comment down below. If you guys like the content I'm putting out there, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, like the video, or hit that thumbs down. If you don't like it, that's up to you. But leave me a comment. What else would you like to see? What else haven't we talked about? What do you want to know about the Autel Robotics that maybe we haven't already covered, or you haven't seen covered out there already? June 25th, should be exciting. Looking forward to see it, and the Parrot Anafi July 2nd coming up. Fun times to be drone enthusiast. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care.